Alright, so we've had several occasions where we've tried to solve multi-step addition, subtraction, and multiplication problems. And sometimes those have given us a little trouble. So what I want to show you today is a way to use a drawing of a strip diagram to help you figure out how to solve the multi-step problems. This is going to require us to use some algebraic reasoning a little bit to solve problems. And we're going to also begin to think of the unknown amount as a variable. Okay, um, that's a new word maybe for us. Um, so a variable is a letter or symbol, but in this case, you always use letters that stands for a number, and it'll stand for the number that we don't know the value of. An equation is a number sentence which shows that two quantities are equal. And what that means is that an equation will always have an equal sign and something on each side of it that is the same value. So here's our problem. Sammy scored 3,489 points in the first round of a new computer game. He scored, so underline that, in the first round. He scored 7,415 more points in the second round than he did in the first round. How many points did Sammy score in the two rounds? That means both rounds put together. The first thing we need to figure out then is how much did he score in the second round. So here's our strip diagram that we're going to draw. We know that the first round points are 3,489. The second round points, we can draw another rectangle like so, and it's 7,415 in addition to this number. And the answer that we get there is going to be in place of this letter P, which stands for the number of points scored in the second round. So we're going to write an equation like this: 3,489 plus 7,415 equals P. So let's go ahead and do the math. All we need to do is add those two numbers together: 7,415 plus 3,489. Add them together, that's 14. 1, 1, and 8 is 10. 1, 4, and 4 is 9. And that's 10. So we have 10,904 points scored in the second round. Simple enough. So let's move on down and see how many the total is. And you see all we've done is draw another strip diagram with 3,489 points in the first round again, plus 10,904 points in the second round, and we're letting that equal n, which is the number of points scored in both rounds together. So that's 3,489 and 10,904. Make that look like a 0 and not a 6. Okay, let's add that together. 10,904 plus 3,489. That's 13. That's 9. 1 and 8 is 9. 9 and 4 again is 13. 1 and 3 is 4. And 1 and 0 is 1. So we have 14,393. 14,393 points scored in the whole game. Not bad. Now let me show you how we can use the strip diagram to write a subtraction problem. In a subtraction problem, the strip diagram is going to look very similar. The only difference is that instead of solving for the big number, we're going to be solving for one of the parts of the numbers. So here's how we're going to do it. We have 13,485 apples that were picked, and they sold 4,589 in week 1. So week 1, 4,589 apples were sold. That indicates subtraction from this number. Week 2, this many apples were sold, 2,113. How many apples are left after 2 weeks? Well, we need to find out how many apples were left after the first week before we can figure out how many were left after 2 weeks. So, here's our strip diagram. We know this many apples were picked, 13,485. We know that in week 1, 4,589 were sold. We want to know how many are left after 1 week. Simple subtraction problem, 13,485 minus 4,589. Let's do the math over here. 13,485 minus 4,589. Okay, 15 minus 9 is 6. That means that's a 7, but I'm going to have to borrow, which I was already borrowing. And I was already borrowing here. So that's going to be 17 minus 8 is 9. 13 minus 5 is 8. 12 minus 4 is 8. So we have 8,896 apples left after 1 week. So far, so good. Now, after week 2, this is what was left over after week 1, so that's what we're starting with. And we know that we sold this much in week 2, so this letter T represents what's left at the end of 2 weeks. So 8,896 minus 2,113. Simple enough. 8,896 minus 2,113. Let's subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. 8 minus 2 is 6. So that's our answer. 6,783 equals T, which means that there were 6,783 apples left after 2 weeks. Still pretty simple. Okay, now we want to do one more example, and this is going to be of a multiplication problem using a strip diagram. And this is going to be a computer problem with hard drive space. Don't know how much y'all know about computers and hard drives, but memory on a computer is measured in kilobytes and megabytes and gigabytes. So this girl, Chris, has a computer with 3 hard drives of 64 gigs of space and 2 hard drives with 16 gigs of space. All of the files that she has on her computer add up and use 78 gigs. So the question is, how much space does she have left? So we need to find out what the total of the 3 hard drives of 64 plus the 2 hard drives of 16 would be. So we got lots of steps to do here. First we need to figure out what 64 times 3 is. So here's our strip. We have 3 blocks of 64. Now I could add those, or I could multiply 64 times 3. We could do that a couple of different ways. Since I've written it this way, we'll just do 12. 6 times 3 is 18 plus the 1, so we get 192. 192. Okay, now we need to do the same thing here. 16 times 2, I hope y'all know what that is, but just in case you don't, 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so we have 32 equals P. Alright, so the 64 gigabyte hard drives add up to 192 gigabytes. The 16 gigabyte hard drives add up to 32 gigabytes. Now, all we have to do is figure out what the total is. So we have 192 plus 32. And 192 plus 32 That's 4, that's 12, and that's 2. I have 224 gigabytes available, and we're using 78. So 224 minus 78. I'm going to have to borrow from this one and this one, so that's going to be a 1, and that's going to be an 11, and that's going to be a 14. So 14 minus 8 is 6, 11 minus 7 is 4, 1 minus 0 is 1, of 146 gigabytes of space left on the computer. That's really not too bad. That's a good way for us to visualize math problems, to just draw the pictures and plug in the numbers. It helps you to see what you know and what you need to know. And that's always what we need to find out before we can solve a problem. What do I know? What do I need to know? So tonight I want you to work the spiral review problems that you will find on Personal Math Trainer. There are only 4 or 5 problems to work, and we will have a quiz over those tomorrow. So if you do them, then there should be no problem on the quiz. You just do it exactly the same way, and that'll tell me if you did it or not. That's your homework for tonight, along with these notes, and then we will practice some of these problems tomorrow. So hope you have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.